it's something that haunted me. Yeah, it is something that haunted me, was how little symbols we had for ourselves as people. And the most significant thing, I didn't get into politics at all. I left that in Jamaica. I just didn't. I came here to settle down with a new life. But one of the most significant things, as I started to interact with political people, elected officials, MPs, MPPs, prime ministers, is I noticed that there was a kind of current running through all of them, which was a kind of, well, you folk, meaning us, you don't really participate much in voting for anybody. That thing has always haunted me about Canada. It's haunted me because, we don't have any Martin Luther Kings. We don't have any Malcolm X's. We don't have any, young, bright leaders who are not a lot of them, who are out there pushing an agenda of these are the things our community needs. We need these things. I give you another example. In education, and I'm going to stop after education. So this is it for now. You see, education, minds are formed in the classroom. Minds are formed in the classroom. And if we don't have a say in the nurturing of our children in the classroom so that they can know themselves and know where they're coming from, then it leads to a lot of other problems. When I looked at what was the occupancy level in jails, prison in Toronto, Canada, 35 years ago, it was a mighty white shade. It was kind of a lot of light. It was very light and pink. But if we look right now at, the city of Brampton with its correctional center, that's what it is. It's a prison in the middle of Brampton. And we look at the prisons in Kingston, Ontario, and other prisons, and Milton, you will find that it's got mighty dark. So here's what we got to do. We got to help our children to learn who they are so that they can stand up and be counted and not be considered to be tomorrow's next victim. And we don't want to join the United States in everything. We don't want any George Floyds here in Toronto. No, we can do it without the George Floyd. We've had a few, but we want to keep those numbers down. And so therefore, what we are appealing in the Black voter base to do is, please, just let us sit down and have an agreement as to what are some of the things we want to do as a community. What do we want to do? And then let's just go about talking to the people who are running, Black, white, Chinese, Asian. One thing about Jamaica, our motto is out of many, one people. And America's motto is e pluribus unum, which is out of many, one. Isn't that curious? All Jamaica did was add the word people to it. So here's what we want to do. We want to speak to the elected officials in a language that they understand. Votes, one, but two, community engagement. And for that, I just want to end again by saying congratulations, Mayor Byron Brown. You're back in office. Now the work has just begun. One more time over. And it is quite correct. He walks in every day into that entire bureaucracy, just like Patrick Brown here walks into an entire bureaucracy. You don't just walk into a place, you walk into a place with people who've been working there for 20, 30 years. You walk into a place that has traditions. You walk into a place that has contracts to be given out. You walk into a place where people assume a lot of things. You got to help them to be able to do their job, which is to make the change. And anybody in politics who decides to make a change, I guarantee you, and on this I'm going to end, you're going to get a fight. If you decide to make some changes, especially quote unquote progressive changes, changes that help the community, you're going to get a fight. I just thought I'd say that.
Well, we are all in a good fight. Thank you, Peter. And I just wanted to welcome everyone who's joined the call. This is about building the Buffalo chapter of the Black voter base. Peter Lopez, for those who just made the call, Peter Lopez and myself formed the Black voter base in Toronto, Canada, 4 years ago. And we're going to share a little bit of history about what we were able to achieve through God's grace and wisdom in that city of Brampton, where more has been done for the people of Brampton, which is about the size of Buffalo, than ever before. And it's because we had an agreement of what needed to be done. And we had a team that was impartial, uncompromised, unbossed, and focused on one thing and getting that agenda completed in a timely fashion. All right. And so we are in the process of building that same agreement here in Buffalo. And it started with getting Mayor Byron Brown to accept in principle our agreement. And we're going to share what some of those terms were. And we're going to share about what kind of tasks we all have ahead of us. But before we get ahead of ourselves, I would like to defer to the elder on the call who can just, and I know this may sound weird, it happens right in the middle of a call, but before we end, we always want to give, we have some traditions. All right. We have traditions. We're cultural people, we're Pan-Africanists, and we have some traditions. And so I'm going to ask the man of faith to just help us conclude this meeting with focus and in unity. And we invite the presence of God in this place. So Pastor, if you're in a position to just share a word or two, and then I'm going to read our land acknowledgement.
Okay, that's fine. Let us pray. Almighty God, our Heavenly Father, you created all things. You created us, Black people, white people, all kind of people. But most of all, you created all things. And sometimes we get lost, and we thank you that you guide us to understand that at the foot of the cross the ground is level. We're all in this journey. However, we recognize the brokenness of human beings, and hence some are at a disadvantage and some make efforts to undermine others. However, you put place in our hearts to try to resolve and focus on solutions for a community. And we do it out of love that resides in us. You are God and you are love. And you make us have this burning in our hearts to have solutions for families, for mental health, and other issues. So as the Black voters gather, may you grant them wisdom and discernment, because sometimes people get caught up in name calling and all these other things. But most important for us is to see your vision of a community that we can all live together for the glory of your name. All this we pray in Jesus' name. Amen.
Thank you. And we acknowledge that the land all around the world has suffered trauma of having natives stripped from her hands. Indigenous people were displaced, discarded, and killed. From the shores of Africa, the Caribbean islands, South America, and right here in North America, people of love, faith, and culture face the most extreme hate, prejudice, and injustice the world has ever seen. Because of this impact, the UN has declared from now until 2024 as the International Decade of People of African Descent, and for them, we pay tribute. To our ancestors whom we honor in deed and action and love, we give thanks and pay tribute. And we remember the past in order not to repeat the past, and we commit ourselves to leaving a legacy of righteousness, respect, and responsibility. So I'm now going to just share a video with you all that is going to give you an idea of what this Black voter base agreement looked like in Brampton, Canada. Share the screen. And this is a video here. I'm going to go, might as well share this video. All right, so I'm going to play this video here. I do have to mute my phone, my other computer when I play it, but this is, can you hear me okay? All right.
Yep.
This is a video of Peter Lopez and myself on television. This was 2018. This is 2018. And this is Toronto, Canada, 2018. The year prior, the election prior to this video, to this election, I was a mayor candidate. So the guy that beat me for mayor of the city of Toronto has to face this sister here who we endorse for mayor in Toronto. And through collective efforts and God's grace, she achieved more votes than any Black person ever achieved running for mayor. And so this is a big event that we had in front of City Hall, rallying the support around her. So this is 20 seconds, and I'm just going to just play this really quickly. I have to put this on mute.
No volume. Audio.
Did you not hear?
No.
You didn't hear anything. Okay.
Mm-mm.
Thing heard today is that people of color don't vote. Get out and vote.
A group called Black Voter Base rallying at City Hall this afternoon. They say they're excited for one of the highest numbers of Black candidates running in this municipal election.
Past generations have set the tone, have raised the bar, and now it's time to lead. So we're thing heard.
All right. I have another video to show you. So that was just us, you know, and that was just, I mean, there's lots more where that story came from. This is another, this was actually this is a film that's on my timeline. So anyone that's wants to watch these videos in full, this is a film on my timeline that actually filmed a lot of our political engagement during that same year. So that's 2018 again. This film is about a man from our community, this elderly gentleman, you know, a pillar in the community, who decided to run for councilor. And I started off the campaign as his campaign manager. And through this film, you'll see what happened to the Black community and how we ended up having two candidates from our beloved community against each other. And it really rattled our community. And you see, as we become more politically engaged, this is going to happen, right? Before this didn't happen because we weren't politically engaged like that. We were in the back, in the behind the scenes, right? We were the ones holding up. We were the ones holding up the posters, right? We weren't the people on the poster. So because we're now becoming, our names are now going on the poster, now we have to prepare for new dynamics in our community that we've never had to endure. And that's splitting the vote, which ends up hurting us the most because we end up winning. So if we're going to split a vote, we want to split a vote that counts, right? And we want to become a powerhouse where those in power worry about us splitting their vote, right? And that's what the Black Voter Base is designed to do. It's designed to say, if you don't negotiate, we're going to split the vote and you're going to end up losing to whoever Republican or write-in or whoever you're going against. If you do not agree to our terms, then you will lose the election because our base is that strong. You understand? So it's about forming a unified vote, a unified voice, and entrusting that those who are the ones involved, those are the ones who are leading, that they are doing so with the people and with the people's best intentions, right? So I will get to a scene in this film. I know you can see it, right? You just can't hear it right now, right?
That's
Okay.
right.
So I'll show. There's a scene here with Peter coming up, walking with the gentleman to City Hall. But there's a scene in here that I want to show you where Peter and myself, we rallied against an elected official. He was already elected. He was running for re-election, and he became so comfortable. That he actually said that Black people needed white people to lead them out of poverty. and also referred to people in our community as cockroaches.
Right.
Okay, and he did that, and we rolled up. We rose up, and we actually helped defeat him. And so, we have to understand that our job is not always to get someone elected. Our job is to get people unelected, right? And you have to understand that takes a unified voice to get people out of office. But it also, and some candidates and some elected officials aren't that dumb to say things like that to get them canceled, okay? But what we need to do is we need to pay more attention to how they vote, because it's their voting record is how we determine whose side you're on. And if we find out that you're not on our side, then we're going to find someone to replace you. And that's part of our job. So this is us in our strategy meetings, and I'll just share this part with you as I get to the part I want to share. This is us in a meeting. I'm gonna go. And Mr. LaRose, candidate for Ward 7.
I do not feel that within the period of time that's been permitted.
Your community activist hat
Yes, ma'am.
and becoming your candidate hat.
Yes,
That's the
additional
biggest
plan.
challenge
Yes,
for you.
yes, I'll have
That's
to
your
do that
biggest
soon.
challenge. And this is why you
Yes.
need to wear.
That's right.
Because
Yes.
you're constantly thinking
Yes,
community activism,
right.
candidate LaRose is a whole different
Thank
thing.
you so much for that. I am now up against 7 candidates, including the school board trustee, Tiffany Ford, and 2 incumbents who are going to be very difficult to defeat.
So he mentioned Tiffany Ford. So Tiffany Ford is like our India Walton. All right. And this gentleman here, Mr. Winston LaRose, is like Mayor Brown. Okay. And these 2 people were not supposed to run against each other. But in the diagram that was just shown is that a change happened in Canada where 2 communities were made into one. And that means everyone that was running for this community and this community is now all running from one community. And that put them against each other. And that split our community like never before. And it was at this moment where I realized that the need for the Black voter base to be able to have these conversations, because no one was thinking about how do we bring our community back together after all of this. So I'm going to play just another piece of this, and then we're going to get to one more video, and it's going to explain every single thing that we've done. And then we are going to have enough time to talk about what is left to be done. And I promise you, we will be done by 12:20. All right, 12:20 or 12:30. If you have to go at 12:20, I understand. We're going to push for 12:20, but by 12:30 we should be done. And we should all have an action plan and an idea on what we're all going to do moving forward. All right. Can I just get some conversation in the chat? Are you still with me, everyone?
I'm still with you. I'm Katrina.
Yeah, yes.
Yep.
Wonderful. Respect. And if I could just ask you also, please send some information so I could follow up with you. I'm still here. Very good. Thank you. So, all right, I'm going to just continue this video.
Anthony Peruzza.
So working neighborhood by neighborhood with
that I will win this election because of the fact that I'm well known in the community, because of the nature of the work that I do grassroots level. I just need to let people know that I'm running. Yet, younger generations do not seem to really appreciate that they're doing all of the things they're doing and enjoying them on the basis of people that have suffered and died just for them to be where they are. We could unify around the world. most people who heard of Jane Finch heard of it in a negative sense and do not know how that perception came about. In pre-colonial times,
The Jane Finch corridor already suffers from the problems of high-density living. Police say the crime rate is escalating.
The press and media have focused so much on the negative of what ends up happening here. And unfortunately, that's only probably a 0.1% of what goes on.
it's a community that has undergone significant travail. It has been badly represented.
The Minister of Community Safety and Correctional Services under fire tonight, accused of stigmatizing the Jane Finch community by wearing a bulletproof vest when he went to the area.
Personally, I went out to Jane and Finch, put on a bulletproof vest, and spent 7 o'clock to 1 o'clock in the morning visiting sites that had previously had bullet-ridden people killed in the middle of the night. The police need tools to work with.
I'd like to thank, firstly, the residents that come out here tonight. And I know you're coming out here because you want some answers and you're concerned. Approximately a month ago, Chief Saunders put
by our new government. But you're not going to get the cooperation of people if you don't show them the ultimate respect. It is better than it used to be, but it's got a long way to go. They're not going to cooperate with you, I can tell you that. It's a more welcoming place than it used to be, but give back the rights of the people of Jane Finch to be Jane Finchers. And that comes from Mr. Jane and Finch himself. Thank you. We don't have a lot of money.
Take the ball. I told you, I know where my strongest places are, okay? And I.
And who will?
One of the things that I'm.
And I plan on dealing with that head on. And the only people that need to be afraid of that are the drug dealers and those that choose to use the guns and kill people.
Thank you, Mr.
I'm going to deal with them.
Our politicians are not dealing with the fundamental root causes of what's causing crime. It's always about bringing in more police officers, putting police officers in our schools. They'll bring them in our churches next. What I'm saying to you is this. If we restructure our approach, our governmental approach to how we create societies and communities, we will not have the crime problem. And I go into the prisons and I see our fellows up there, bright young men, no jobs to do, no training, no capacity building within the communities. They're being segregated from their families. We cannot accept that. The mayor should be putting some money into work projects and training projects that will allow people to have better lives and produce for themselves within their community. I'm going to make sure that that happens effectively from the time I become the next council in this life.
Thank you, Mr. Lewis.
The illustrious conservation of cockroaches.
I'm a community resident. Future of this.
One of the most tumultuous municipal elections in Toronto's history. Councillors are battling one another, including one who's been called out for his seemingly racist comment.
I got a message for Mama Lady. I'll be more. You can deliver your message, but you can ignore it. I'll tell you, look at this speak to Giorgio. It's not here. Well, it's election day. The black voter base demands an apology.
Why don't you step up?
Okay, sure. All right, so that scene that you saw, Peter Lopez and myself on election day, storming Mama Lidi's office, that made it in the movie. And, that's exactly what politicians need to be concerned about, right? They need to be concerned about us not, a response from us. And, we need to have a group that is not politically tied. See, so many groups and organizations get their funding from the government, which makes it very difficult for them to be able to speak against the government. And so,
can I just say one thing? I want to say one thing, because this is very current. I'm talking about June, July, August, September, October, November, December, January, February 2022, and from the beginning of this year, 2021. There is over $2 billion worth of work going on from the intersection of Keel and Finch, passing through Jane and Finch, and it's going to end up all the way over in Humber College. That is miles and miles and miles of what is called an above ground railroad. That is going to connect the TTC to the Keel and Finch, or what is now called the new Finch West Station.
Peter, that's
hold on a second.
I know, but it's a Canadian situation, and like we're here dealing
I got you, but hold on. Nobody's getting any work that in our community, and that's important. It's important to our community. Nobody's getting any work.
Well,
so we got to change that too.
Well, for me to be able to connect that to the Buffalo situation, so in the agreement that we submitted has information about a Buffalo Bill Stadium. Okay. And we are connected with all the people from our community who have for the last 2 decades have been advocating for a stadium, a stadium in Buffalo and not in Orchard Park. And so, and that's becoming more and more reality. On Tuesday, I believe it is, there's going to be a common council sort of session like this where people can voice their support for it. And it's very important that we know that we are always at the table, and that we negotiate our percentage of work, right? We have to negotiate. We have to have these conversations. Just as we had in our previous agreement in Brampton with the mayor, that 20% of his staff had to be Black, right? So these are the things that are, as a Black voter base, as we build our strength, a united strength, we are going to be able to lean in and demand these things, because there's development, just like Peter said, there's development happening in Toronto, major development. There's major development that's going to happen here in Buffalo, and it's going to be located in our own neighborhoods, and we have to be ready for that, and we already have to know what we want, right? So, because too many times we actually get stuff and it's like, you know what, this is not enough. You know, I took my kid trick-or-treating and they gave him one, and and one of the kids that was with got one. He was like, can I have 3? And it's like, if you want 3, ask for 3, right? And so the point is, like, we have to know what we want, and we can't complain when we get what we don't want, when we didn't even ask what we wanted in the first place, right?
Can I say something really quick?
Sure, please.
This is Katrina. Number one, I kind of want to briefly, really quick, kind of rocket back to the election results, and actually, what happened. So just to introduce myself to everyone, my name is Katrina Martin Bordeaux, and I'm the leading political activist in the city of Buffalo. And basically what you've seen during this election is basically kind of a manufactured perception that was thrown out there of a complacent Black community that appears to be moderate and not progressive, and that would have been further from the truth. The most progressive activists, Black activists in the city of Buffalo, actually supported Byron Brown and got behind him. So when we look at our election results, what we basically see, right? We see a Walton takes Niagara District by 800 votes. We see right now in the Maston District, and this is the most significant, this is the mayor's district, right? His original district, and it's actually where he lives, right? Right now, he's trailing by about 300 votes there. We have about 3,000 absentee ballots out. I'm imagining we'll make that up. This is what the significant part is. The Maston District is the 14215 zip code. And the 14215 zip code is the youngest zip code in Erie County. So we have most of our young people, the majority that live in Erie County live in 14215, right? And then when you look at those households, a lot of those households, many of those households are single family households where basically mothers are taking care of children. And the economic driving force in that community is the certified nursing assistant. So we have about 13% of Buffalo economy is low wage healthcare, workers, whether they're CNAs, dietary workers, so on and so forth, right? And so moving forward in a strategy, in addition to everything that you mentioned, right? And then we'll also see a little bit of that 142E11 that will rock over into that section. We have to have a plan to reach out to this demographic and put the opportunity in front of them, right? So what the mayor did do is he did the Northland Corridor. That has a training center there that is free for anybody that's going to walk, off the streets there and say, hey, this is what I want to do, right? We also have a problem in relation to our recidivism rate, right? What people forget is that a city government does not have a probation department, right? That is going to be our county government, our state, and our federal. We have a breakdown, an intra-governmental breakdown, right? Because those that are responsible for those that are in a PINS program, that's a program for youth to keep them try to keep them out of trouble, redirect them before prison is, where they are. There is a breakdown between the other government agencies that either probation or parole people, right? And walking them over to the services that have been created in the city of Buffalo. So those are some things that we need to focus on, is actually getting our people and getting people to the resources that actually exist for them. Right? We just seen that he came out with $1 million for business to relocate in high impacted Black communities, right? Giving businesses, 50 businesses, $25,000 just to locate, your business in my community. And we have to build a better network amongst people, right, like us, and reaching out to the community so we could build a sustainable community and a sustainable society. I've made relationships with all the largest and the biggest developers in the community. I know what's going to take place. I know what's happening. We have that seat at the table, right? Everybody just has to be ready, to sit there, listen to one another, and build back Buffalo, because that's exactly what's happening, and that's exactly what we're going to do. And I would love to, do it with this group.
Ashe, sister. Well, we welcome you, of course, and we appreciate all the hard work that you've put into this city. I enjoyed speaking with you and learning from you. I wrote down a couple of things you mentioned about zip codes. Those zip codes are very telling, and it's very and listen. And although a lot of people came out to vote, I think it's what 1/5 of Buffalo voted.
Yeah.
I mean, we're
high
talking
voting turnout. 60,000 people turns out in this election, with about 150,000 registered voters in the city. So that's astronomical. Last election, we probably had like a little over 20,000 people showed up. So and people need to say, I'm a progressive. I'm not a moderate. I'm nowhere in the middle. But at the same time, I'm a scholar also. And I know what we need as far as an administrator and a manager and a CEO for the city. And we have that in Byron Brown. And folks, listen, there's nowhere else to go but to the east of Main Street. There's nowhere else to develop. There's nowhere else to build.
It's our turn. It's our turn.
Right. It's our turn. And that's what this was about.
It is our turn. And it also, you also mentioned something, regarding recidivism. And you mentioned, and these are very important conversations. And what happens is when you try to have these conversations during the election, things get blurry, right? Things get blurry because you represent one side of the conversation, right? So you're losing half of the audience because you're wearing a Byron Brown button or you're wearing an India Walton button, right? So it's very difficult to have these conversations to the city as a whole when you are representing one side or another. So this is why we cannot be reactive. We're too much of a reactive people, and we need to be proactive. And so the work starts now. This is why this Zoom meeting happened now, because we don't wait. We listen. So I'll give those in Buffalo a timeline on where we stand in Buffalo, and then I'm going to spend 3 minutes sharing a video that Peter Lopez and myself just concluded with the mayor of Brampton. Okay, so just a timeline where everyone is, so they could actually, you know what? Let me play the video, and then I'm gonna play the video, and then I'm gonna take you to the timeline and show you what we have, what opportunity we have in Buffalo right now. So I'd like to acknowledge Pastor Tim Newkirk, who joined me, who is one of the founding blocks here at the Buffalo chapter, New York State. the New York State Black Voter Base chapter. I want to just welcome him. He's on the call as well. Pastor Newkirk, anything you would like to share? I'll definitely give. If you don't want to just take the floor, I will force you on the floor to speak shortly, sir. But we're going to play a video right now. Is there anything that anyone would like to add to that?
Okay, well, I just want to thank the Black Voter Base, Dwight and Peter in particular, for convening this meeting. We've been working at this for over 3 years, and it's always good to be to look at introspective manner at hindsight of where we made progress, where we have ongoing work. But I do want to, highlight the accomplishment of this level of engagement. I don't think the Afro-Caribbean community has been as engaged elsewhere in the country as we've seen in Brampton, directly focused on public policy change. And it's been a beautiful example of democracy working. We challenged the conventional thinking in Brampton. I think prior to my election, there wasn't a high level of focus or time or dialogue happening with the Black community in Brampton, despite the fact that the diaspora was one of the largest in the country. We have a huge Caribbean diaspora, a huge African community. And what we've done over the last 3 years is really work in tandem with the community. And I want to give credit to Frances Bradshaw, who is on this call, because she's really spearheaded it from the mayor's office perspective. The bureaucracy always likes to move a little bit slower than our hearts and minds like to, but we've been pushing it. And there was commitments we made, and Frances will go through the list. She's got a document that she wants to review with all of you. But when I look on a high level of some of our accomplishments, there wasn't a single member of the community in the mayor's office before. And we have 2 stalwarts in the mayor's office right now, in Frances and Candace, that are doing great work for the city. We made a pledge that we were going to create an Emancipation Park. That's done. Now we have events at Emancipation Park. We have the first agreement with Black North Canada to build affordable housing, the first in Canada dedicated to the community, that was signed at the Region Appeal with my friend Wes Hall. We created an anti-Black racism unit at our city hall, the first in Canada. We had a reverse tender trade show. And this is before COVID. We can't do as many of these events in the pandemic. We had a reverse tender trade show that Frances really promoted in the community, where instead of it being a secret what government contracts were available, we had every department have.
And just catch everyone up to speed. That is the mayor of Brampton. This is his first 4 years as mayor of Brampton. And before the election, right near the end of the election, he got a knock at the door. And there was Peter Lopez and the DeWitt Lee there with an agreement. And we said, listen, we have a galvanized base. Running for mayor and being political, you build a community. I knew that, listen, the people who supported me are the future curators of our cities. And we stayed connected, we stayed united, and we grew and grew and grew our base. And so we were able to go to a candidate running for mayor. And obviously he's not Black, but his last name was Brown. So you neither have to be Brown or last name be Brown in order to get our support, our Black. But you know what? We know his history and we saw his chances too. Listen, politics is about math. It's about equations, right? It's not about feelings so much. It's about equations and math. And our agenda had to be brought into the city of Brampton. And so this is the candidate who agreed to the terms. He got elected. And so now this is a normal meeting that Peter Lopez and myself had with this mayor and his team, that we decided to finally open it up to the public so that they could hear about this agreement and this engagement that we take part in. So the next video that you're going to hear is his chief of staff, who we mentioned in this video, Francis Bradshaw, who's going to read down the list of our agenda. So what he signed was 3 pages worth of commitments, such as your staff had to be Black, and he mentioned that. They never even had a Black person working in City Hall. Okay. The first thing on the list was, if you get elected, 20% of your staff must be Black. Okay. And listen, we're able to make those kind of declarations because we are in the International Decade of People of African Descent. And if we're ever going to be able to make those statements and make those claims and declarations, it's now. So that happened. We wanted to have an Emancipation Park. He mentioned that happened. So now I'm going to just quickly just show you his staff, just run out a little bit of list of some of the things we've done, and then we're going to get back to our meeting to conclude. So the next part of the video is 1818. So listen to this. Tell me how powerful this is. 1818. I'm going to get to 18. All right, here we go. I'm going to start a little bit sooner, and then I'm going to mute this. Francis. And if I could just ask everyone to mute their phone if they're not speaking, please.
So the agreement with the Black voter base, I'm not sure if you're able to pull it up, do it, and so that people are able to see the commitments. Our first one was that we wanted the mayor's office to reflect the community. So just ensuring the mayor's office staff reflects the cultural mosaic of the community. In the past, there had been no Black staff, Black racism training for staff, and identify opportunities for staff to develop and grow in the city of Brampton. So we've actually started an anti-Black racism unit in Brampton, and we've also article challenges for Black business owners in the face of COVID-19, and to identify opportunities for growth and additional support with the online business directory. And
all right. Sorry. So this is, by the way, this is public. This is all on our Facebook pages, so you can go through it. I just want to just go to the ending with the endorsement. So this is a message. Someone's trying to come into the room now. Okay, let me let them in. All right, so here we are. I'm going to get to this ending part here. 56.
Take notes, but I hope we can have another Zoom like this where we can talk about what the next steps are, what the next agenda items are, and put a little bit of effort and research into sort of playing them out. And so if the goal is going to be to address other issues, what are the tangible achievements we want to see in the next 4 years? And so would love for you to maybe do that research with the community and determine what are the municipal asks that we can work on together.
So I just want to thank the mayor, and I want us to stop calling mayor, call him brother. He's our brother.
Mayor Brown, we are actively working on these kind of arrangements with administrations and governments, across the world, specifically right here in Buffalo with actual Mayor Byron Brown. And I just wanted to ask you, Mr. Mayor Brother Brown, before you go, do you have any words, for him specifically and anyone else who will be presented with a Black voter base agreement?
I would just add that it's a beautiful opportunity to enrich your democracy. An agreement like this can help show the community that democracy works, that apathy is not the route to public policy change, that showing commitments towards public policy issues can actually increase participation in the community. And so for me, it's a no-brainer. I would encourage any other mayor to give it their sincere consideration.
So I'm watching the clock. It's 12. We have 7 minutes. I promised 12:30 at the latest. I want to thank everyone for sticking around. So, this is kind of an introduction of the Black voter base. Essentially, truthfully, these are tools for the community to embrace and to use, to leverage, to achieve the things that they wanted to achieve. All right. Like, you know, I spent a few years of my life living in Brampton, right, as a child. Okay. So when I showed back up in Brampton in 2018 with the Black voter base, you know, I felt like I was coming back to a place that I called home. And, you know, and I wanted to impact that community permanently. But I also want to empower the people in that community. You gotta understand, the Black voter base is an international organization, and we are just coming into communities to help establish and just provide tools and work with those who are already on the ground, who have put in the work, who know the lay of the land, and put them in power. So, and as we organize and cultivate our power to become unified. So this agreement that we had with Patrick Brown in 2018 took a lot of work, and I want to just publicly thank Peter Lopez for tirelessly, we're not paid for this, for tirelessly contacting his office and, you know, scheduling the meetings. And listen, a lot of pressure, all those achievements that his office ran down the list of that we checked off the boxes, that all took a lot of work. And now we're in the process of replacing those achievements with new things that need to get done, and leave that as a pattern. And this is just the way we do business. We only do business with agreements. And once those things are taken care of, we quickly fill that void with something else. Okay. So I just wanted to show you that because of this agreement and because of evidence and proof of this system working, we were able to speak with Byron Brown and reveal to him a sort of a tailored Black voter base agreement. A lot of those agenda items came from this original agenda item, because you know what, our people suffer the same kind of issues all over, believe me, all over. So, you know, there are a lot of different areas that are just understood, necessary needs that we need as a community, and that's what we put on the list. But we have a very special opportunity here in the city of Buffalo, and I want to thank the mayor for this one, is the fact that this agreement that he's agreeing to is still being cultivated. And that's where everyone on this call in Buffalo, we need your help. Okay. So what we're doing right now is we want to build a couple steering committees. All right. And the first steering committee would be to start building an outline form for organizations, no matter what size your organization is, no matter what your organization is. If you have a group of people from our community, we would like for you to go through this exercise with them to help find out what their needs are. What do they see the needs of our community? And then we are going to create this outline in this format for communities to reach out to their constituents, get this information to us, and then we are going to, once compiled, start putting together a 2022 agenda for our community. Okay. And we are going to meet with experts. We're going to meet with researchers. We're going to meet with our partners all over the country to find out, this is a problem. Who has a solution for it? Which community around the world has a solution that fits this problem? And we are going to put great recommendations forward. It's going to be fully researched. And with the mayor's cooperation, he already gave us enough commitment to this agreement that we are able to issue the endorsement. You notice the Black voter base didn't endorse any other candidate. Okay, now I personally on my page promoted Kim Beatty, but because I did not get an agreement with them, they did not get an endorsement. Okay, our endorsements are not for play. Our endorsements change elections, and I don't even have the authority to just put in an endorsement on someone without the base agreeing to it. So our steering committee is going to begin, first of all, building an outline in a format for organizations to begin to find out what their community needs. Block clubs, it doesn't matter. We
Right.
Community centers.
Right.
And then the other steering committee would be to help, or a portion of that steering committee would be to help start identifying the information, these organizations, and then we're going to begin organizing the data. And so you know what, we're going to be in need of some funds. And, you know, this very important journey that we're all going on, is going to take a lot of time and going to be funds. And so we need your ideas on how we can, how we can secure those funds so we can pay for researchers and pay for attorneys, and pay ourselves. We're not afraid to say that, but our money, we are unbought though, right? And so we have to be creative to find out how we're going to get that done. I wanted to open the floor to anyone that has any questions at all.
This is Katrina.
Yes,
I just would like to say something about that organizing aspect of, organizing the communities, organizations, different groups, so on and so forth, right? So what we have going on basically right now is we have 5 major nonprofit organizations that are not rooted out of and from our community. That would be groups like PPG, which is Partnership for the Public Good, Push Buffalo, Open Buffalo, Voice Buffalo. And I can't remember the other one, off the top of my head.
Working parties.
Okay, between 5 organizations, they employ about 115 people, right? And none of these people are from the communities that their agenda is trying to impact for the most part, right? And so what we need to do at this point is we need to shift those resources to community block clubs, because community block clubs actually have people that are rooted in and actually live in those communities, right? Those community block clubs and those communities organizations should actually be the developers. They should actually be the get out the vote outreach people to communities, right? Because for the most part, what do these organizations do when they say, hey, we're organizing voter engagement? That's already at the polling station. You're kind of not engaging somebody that's already coming to the polling station to vote, right? When we put that power and those resources in the hands of block clubs, right? They live in the communities that they serve. They then reach out to, right? The people in their communities, then we have better turnouts, right? They should be the developers in their communities. For example, Fillmore District has a block club that has a 501c3. It's no reason why we can't structure the block club to be able to bid on the Bureau grants that these other nonprofit organizations are bidding on. Because all of the development and the need is on the east side, and that's where it's going to be. So it is imperative that we organize Black groups and Black organizations to apply for these grant fundings. And I know how to write grants. I know how to apply for an RFP. I applied for the RFP for the Northland Corridor, and it was my first time, and we actually became runner-ups. I went on the RFP with LP Seminelli and the Outsource Center, and we only lost to the Thurman Thomas Group out of about 10 to 12 different large construction companies from around the country that bid on that $440,000 contract just to be the community outreach managers for that project. So what I'm saying is this: you already have the research. I'm a nurse researcher, right? That's why a lot of even the Walton platform, that's why I was able to kind of counter that. They didn't do their research. You never go to one source or one group that gives you information and go from that. By the time I'm giving information to the mayor, I have 10 and 12 and 15 different resources to validate my research and its rigor, right? So that's why a plan for UC Berkeley in Berkeley, California, that only has 120,000 people, that have 80% of their residents are college educated, and they're amongst the most affluent community in the country. We don't take their plan for policing and to move ticketing and traffic stops to regular pedestrians, right? We cannot compare Buffalo to such a city, right? We can compare Oakland, California to Buffalo, maybe, right? But we cannot compare Berkeley. We can compare Berkeley to Amherst, and that's what Amherst should be doing, right? Maybe what Berkeley is doing, right? And so it's things like that that give us less validity when we're going to our elected officials saying, hey, I want this done. We have to be better about our research. We have attorneys, right? We have researchers. We have the resources and everything at our fingertips, right? We have Stephen Butler, that is the owner of Ike and BG's, that has a $6 million acquisition right now to build on Genesee Street in the most impacted community in Buffalo, right? And we also have the development of the Broadway Fillmore area, which is Dr. Fadi Dager, right? He's reached out to us. He wants to work with us. He wants us to tell him how to build and what to build there. He wants us to tell him what to do to that former Kmart, right? We also have Douglas Jamal that is going to be rebuilding our central terminal. He wants us. He wants to work with us, you know, not other corporate entities, but with the people. And this is our chance. This is our time, folks. I'm telling y'all, this is our opportunity for us to come together, come with our plan, and whatever your vision is for Buffalo, whatever it is you see, right? Your mayor is going to make it happen. The people are going to make it happen. I'm so hopeful and I'm so excited for this time. And I just want everybody to get excited and know where we're going, and that we can do this. And we need you. We need brothers like you that are optimistic, that love Black people and love the Black man and want to help and want to send our mayor out of the mayor's office in 4 years in a dignified way, you know, giving him his due and giving him his credit and his respect as the first Black mayor in the city of Buffalo. So I just ask that y'all, you know, that we just stay steadfast and focused, and that everybody continue to remember that, you know, and think about that, and to help support our mayor. And you know, try, you know, not to fight him where he's wrong, and we don't like what's happening and going on. Of course we speak to that, right? But he's very receptive and can take constructive criticism. I promise you that, right? It's not, I'm not always agreeing with him, right? I push back on him with things, and it's coming out that I'm winning. I'm the one that proposed the extension of the youth employment program to run year round. Right. So I stay at it, but I stay at it with respect. I'm the one that wrote the initiative to deem gun violence as a public health crisis. That's how we were going to get our money. What do we see? We see our governor came in, took us up on that offer, and that's what we have now. That got us more resources. We have $2 billion coming into Buffalo to improve our streets, our infrastructure, to help us with our business growth, affordable housing, you name it. We have it, and it's just our opportunity right now to strategically get our people in positions to be able to accept the equity. And you know, I'm just humbled and gracious, and I just thank you for leading this, you know, Black voter initiative and this charge. And I just, you know, want to thank you and all the others from the bottom of my heart.
We thank you. We thank you. I mean, this is what happens when we create a space of respect. And we're able to put together a plan of action. And sister, I mean, I wrote down so many of the things you shared. We're so grateful to have you on board. And if you have not shared your email, our phone number, I will not be able to follow up. I need to stick to my.
It's in the chat.
Okay, no, I have yours. I'm just saying, if a person, I only have 2 email addresses and 2 phone numbers, and I know there are more people on the call. So if you would like to be part of the continuation of this, please. And you don't have to put it public for everyone in the chat. You can send it to me directly, but the minute this Zoom ends, I will not be able to access it. So please send it now. I have to honor my word. I said 12:30, and I've gone 7 minutes over. Thank you. I'm taking down that email. And real. So I will just, you know, I've spoken enough. I just wanted to just give you an idea on what took place. For the last 4 years, the Black voter base in Brampton, Canada, has been successful in being able to shape and shift the direction and the presence of Black people and Black business and Black culture permanently. Okay, and now Buffalo, this election created an opportunity, and I was here. You know, I was here, and listen, I've traveled in many different places on political. I mean, I was even in Grenada helping on a constitutional referendum. So, you know, we were in Florida when there was a big governor race there. So we mobilize and go where we need to go. But being planted here in Buffalo, watching this election and having flashbacks to, you know, that video that I was sharing with you that I was embedded in, Jane and Finch, which is like any intersection on the east side. I realized that something needed to be done. And it took a minute for us to figure it out. This is a very complicated situation here in the city of Buffalo, but I'm happy with the results. The sister mentioned about Byron Brown being able to finish with dignity. I think that's key. I think also, transition and successors are key. I think we may have found our successor, but at the end of the day, we should have a choice, right? I mean, we should have a choice. I mean, listen, there are members of our community who should have a say in who's going to be the mayor of this city. And, we need to have protocols and respect. And so there's a lot more to share about what the Black voter base is going to achieve, from civic engagement training in the schools and community centers to community primaries that we'll be launching so that we don't split the vote and to, being an actual political party. Sister, you mentioned these parties. Well, we'll have a party line. Okay. We're looking for our governor candidate right now. Okay. So we plan on being the next election to truly have a Black voter base influence and impact. So we just wanted to have this meeting as soon as possible. The next meeting is actually this upcoming Friday at the Meriwether Library. Okay, the Meriwether Library from 3 to 5 p.m. Sister Marnetta has organized a panel discussion from enraged to engaged. And this is going to be another opportunity for us to continue building the base, continue to, first of all, let people heal and let people unite. So this upcoming Friday, the conversation continues. Those who've shared the information, you'll be getting an update shortly on the next plans on our subcommittee for the Black voter base agenda, because Mayor Brown has accepted it, which is why he got the endorsement from the Black voter base. And now it's time for us to build the base and build the Black agenda for Buffalo. Is there anyone have anything else to share before we part?
Just to say thank you very much for those who have gathered here. It's a long road, but this is a marathon. It's not a sprint, although we are pretty good at sprints, but it's a marathon. So, I don't want to bring Usain Bolt here, but this is really a long distance run. So let's just prepare and let's just continue to talk to each other and working with each other. And, always have prayers in the forefront of our mind, because we got to pray for some things, but at the end of the day, we got to work, and this is about the work, and we got to get it done. So, I'm just looking forward to that Brown back in town program, where we can get the new re-elected to talk to the current post.
Well,
by the way, who's running for election?
Well, actually,
Patrick Brown is running for election.
We are the Brown connection, right? Because because the way I envision it, and I'll just leave this, the way I envision it was, listen, every city that has a Black voter base agreement and a chapter, it's our dialogue that matters, right? Because we have the ears and the eyes of the mayors, right? So, I stopped running for mayor and decided to just influence mayors.
That's right.
Yeah.
Right. And you know what? And because you know what? I get to choose who I get to advocate for. And you see my red, black, and green behind me? That's the only flag me deal with. That's the only colors me deal with. See? I don't want to encourage no other kind of flag may have to endure and may have to celebrate me after everything else. All right. So that's my flag. That's my people. And we put in that work. So the Brown and Brown connection is established. Peter, you and Tim Newkirk represent that Brown and Brown. Okay. Because you two can call the mayor on your phones.
Yep.
So we are going to build that sister city, twin cities, and we are going to knowledge share. We are going to information share, love share, culture share, and you know what? We are going to be Black without borders. So today is the official beginning of the Buffalo and Brampton Black voter base agreements and teams, and we are now international, and we are growing across Canada. And we're growing across the US. So everyone that provided information, I will be updating you shortly on the next steps. I want to thank you from the bottom of my heart for everyone who put their work in, who stands for democracy and loves their people.
Just real quick, if anybody is available, we're having a small debriefing meeting today about the election at 3:00 on Genesee Street at Ike and BG's. Just meet us there. I just know Ike and BG's, right? That's my neighborhood. I live around the corner on Nevada Street, so I don't even know the address, right? So it is at Genesee, near where DOTE is going to start. So there's Ike and VG's there. If you're available, 3 o'clock, meet us for a quick debriefing, which will include the election and include talking about the stadium. We're going to do, I'm trying to organize us to do a press conference with Black businesses and the community in relation to supporting the Buffalo Bills downtown stadium.
Well, I tell you what, you don't feel rushed. We don't get, this ain't the Zoom call to get cut off. It's not the free thing.
Okay.
Not the free one.
So sorry.
Not the free account. So listen, I won't make it. I'm going to my cousin's basketball game for ECC.
All right.
But I tell you what, me as a sport director at WFO, we have been, that has been and being political, I've had the mayor on my show to talk about the stadium, and we were actually trying to put together a Bills parade to the polls for those who supported the stadium in Buffalo, but it never took root. But nevertheless, Mr. Pat Freeman, for decades has been promoting, introducing infrastructure.
Yes.
So
he's involved on this.
yeah, well, he should be.
About.
Well,
Yes.
he should be. So please keep
He's
us
the figurehead
involved.
of this.
Listen, every Sunday, Sunday we got the sports show. So whenever you want to come on the sports show, please let me know. We'll get that done. And I look forward to talking to you, after your debriefing today and find out, what else can be shared with the Black voter base. So very exciting times we're in, y'all. Listen, last thing, this month is the birthday of Sister Chisholm, Shirley Chisholm, first Black woman to run for president. And so what we want to do is actually have a statewide awards recognition. So we're going to invite every city to nominate an award recipient of this Shirley Chisholm Award. It's November 30th. And I'm putting forth the name of India Walton. And, so, we have to figure out how that process works so that, our queens across the state get to be celebrated for, representing, democracy the way they do. So please look forward to that information being posted. And if you're not following us on social media, you're missing out. So please find Black Voter Base on Facebook and Instagram. All right, everyone.
Take it easy.
Right. Thank you for your time. Pastor Tim, nothing? Pastor Tim, you want to pray us out, bro? Where are you, man? All right. Brother Kwame, I just want to make sure, conscious clothing, right? Conscious cotton. She's typing. Oh yeah, Pastor left out. Okay, respect. All right, everyone. Well,
Ashe.
Ashe. All right, Mr. Lopez. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.